Hi guys, how are you?
Great.
Did you have a good lunch?
Yeah.
Okay, this is good. I want to introduce somebody that's a pretty amazing guy. Lance Donahoe, he's one of our sponsors, so give it up for one of our sponsors. Great, give it up. Ooh. Geez, this is tough crew. Anyway, Inspect 360, he's got one of the best magazines that in the Dallas area, and I don't know what kind of Dallas. It's called Real Producer, but you're all of Dallas?
We have 4 publications in Dallas. So, yes, we have 4 publications in Dallas. We have Dallas, North Dallas, Fort Worth, and North Fort Worth Real Producers. Are y'all familiar with Real Producers throughout the country? Yes. It is for your peer group, the top producing agents in the country. So it's a pretty exclusive group. So if you're receiving this, congratulations, because that's pretty cool.
And then I just want to say, I'm Buddy West from Wilmington, Delaware, but our lead speaker here, and I'm just going to be helping him out here. This man, you think it's hot outside, right? Wait to hear him. This man could start a fire with an ice cube. And so, without any further ado, from Salisbury, Maryland, we've got G. Dunstan.
Thank you. You know, I first and foremost, I have to say that because this is seniors, this was about, and most of the time when I go to these classes, when I have lots of seniors, at this time of day, they all want to take a nap, So I know you like it, don't you? Yeah. And so we're going to go, and we're going to try to put a 3-hour program into about 40 minutes. And so we're going to move as best we can. And those of you that want to get some of the information more on certain things in here, I'm more than happy to provide that for you.
And Lance wants to give you a couple minutes on.
Yeah, sure.
On why would anybody want to get a home inspection?
I have to go first? Is that it?
Yeah.
That's like Judy Collins opening up for Led Zeppelin. I don't know if I can do that, man.
I don't think
some
she
of y'all
ever
get that, right?
I don't think she ever opened up for Led Zeppelin,
I
but
know,
you know.
that's what I'm saying.
Again, my memory.
Yeah, so the rock show is coming. Well, again, my name is Lance Donahoe. I own a home inspection company here in Dallas, Fort Worth called Inspect 360. We've been in business for 15 years. We've got a team of guys that are right now out in this heat, climbing around in some hot attic. So let's give it up for those guys, because it's brutal. It's like 160 degrees in there. But as Buddy mentioned also, I own Real Producers magazine. And what that affords me to do is get to spend time with top producing agents like you and in a community that is unique and has an identity. And I am just so amazed at the culture and, of course, the legacy of what's happened here. And Buddy invited me to be a part of this, so I'm truly grateful for just the opportunity to be in the room with you guys. So thank you for that. Real quickly, since we're talking about seniors, I just thought it was kind of relevant. I often use this analogy about home inspections, and since you all, I guess, have experienced a home inspection, right? One way or the other. But we really thinking about what the role of an inspector is and what the role of an agent is. And as it relates to seniors, I think it's really important to have a mindset. And first off, I would say, in understanding what a home inspection is, we're trying to give a snapshot of the condition of the home in just a short period of time, and it's like a checkup. If you've heard of that, you're taking somebody to a generalist, introducing to a generalist, a general physician, and they're giving you a quick assessment of the house, kind of like speed dating. Buddy, you're familiar with speed dating, right?
I invented it.
Yeah. So. But we're in just a short period of time trying to find out as much information, but similar to also a checkup. What I really love this analogy, particularly with seniors. Anybody ever been to a doctor's appointment with a senior, somebody that's ailing, sick? In the last few years, I've had to do quite a bit of that with my parents. And I realized how important my role was in that was to be their advocate, right? And it was to ask questions on their behalf to make sure that they understood what the doctor was saying and that the doctor understood their condition in a total perspective, right? The whole holistic, and then also to help them remember those things, right? Because they weren't writing down things, they didn't understand, they were confused a little bit, and duress, right? Oftentimes, you probably find your buyers in that same condition, right? And like like me in that role, you are the buyer's advocate when they are going to a home inspection. That home inspector is giving information that may be hard to digest or understand, particularly for a senior that maybe isn't familiar with all the techniques, all the technology, all those things. So to help them keep this process and this part of the transaction simple, so they're able to understand whether they need to move forward or back out, right? So I just kind of wanted to impress on you just the mindset of your role in an inspection is to be an advocate. It's not to be an inspector. It's not necessarily to tell somebody what to do. One of the most empowering things for my parents when I would find myself in this advocate role was to ask them a question afterwards. Do you understand? Is that what you want to do? That was my role. It wasn't to make the decisions for them. Where I see realtors getting in trouble often is making decisions for their client, telling them we need to take care of this, 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 and this, and then they leave that off the list, and that's the one thing that ends up breaking, and then they call you, go, you told me I didn't need to have that fixed. You told me I didn't need to have my heart checked out, right? No. So it's just a little bit of perspective, and that's all I wanted to provide to you today. So if you're looking for home inspectors, make sure they have that perspective too. They understand their role, they understand your role, and they give you that space to be that advocate, to ask questions. That also might mean you attending the inspection. How many of you attend at least the wrap up, the delivery of the inspection? Very good. There's a lot of agents that I know that they've been taught, no, don't go to the inspection. You're going to expose yourself to liability. I think there's more liability in not showing up at an inspection because you're there at every part of the transaction, particularly the closing when you get the check. And if a judge ever found out that you didn't show up at the inspection just because you thought that maybe that was a place that you had some exposure, then that doesn't really show that you're doing fiduciary duty. So congratulations again on being here in this room with Buddy West and G. Dunstan. Good gosh, you guys are in for a treat. And ladies and gentlemen, let the games begin.
Thank you. Good job.
You bet, buddy.
All right. Well, let's get into this. I've taken this, broken this down, I think, a little bit so that we could get as much covered as possible, and looking at the opportunities to improve our business. And so I've got 7 little things that I want to go over with you because I know that most of you know some of these things for sure, backwards and frontwards. But what I want to think about...
Mike.
But what I think is really important is that the first one is what we continue to hear, and I'm sure, and especially we're hearing it now across the board, and the market, is it going to be just as bad or even worse than it was in 2007 and 2008? And what's most important here is that accordingly, it's not. You know, we've got the opportunity right now that the far better health programs that we've never had before, that thanks for, in part, the new leading lending regulations that have taken place since that time, that has resulted for make it so much better. We also know that it's important for everybody to understand too is that mortgages are much better. It's more things that we don't have to be worrying about. It's important in that regard as well. But I know that we've got have gone through a hot market. We know it's cooling down a little bit. That could be really good. That could be for all of us. And one of the things that I think is most important here is that we really do have, when we break everything down, I think we end up with a very healthy market. And we're going to talk about that in more ways than one. But we want you to make sure that there's some numbers here that I think you might want to take when you have somebody that wants to challenge you on some of this. And we know right now that the rules put together, today's borrowers are much on a better footing than they have been when we're looking at 53.5 million different lien mortgages for the American public. It's important, though, we can see that when we look at FICA, the credit score today is 7.5, which is the highest it has ever been. If we go back to 2010, we could see that 699 was something that they thought was very well. And so we've got that going for us. But as we move forward into what we're talking about here today, it's important that when number two is equity. And we're all seeing the benefits that we have had with equity. And what we are dealing with today is what's so-called tapeability equity, and that's the money that is so much in that people can take a boatload of money out of their home in the last 4 years and still have at least 20% still that they keep, but let's take some of that money and put it in a very, very good way. And that's part of what we'll be talking to do as well.
Well, gee, on that, why would you want to take your money out when the rates are so high? You have a lot of equity in the house. What are you going to do with the money? Put it under your bed?
Well, there's a lot of places that people can put that money.
Under my bed.
Under your bed. I thought yours, you have a lot of bottles of wine under your bed, don't you? It's a water bed. Isn't that a water bed?
I cannot confirm or deny that.
Okay. But if we look at where we stand right now, the record high of 11 trillion is in play right now for this in this market. Wow. With 34% increase in the equity the homeowners have gathered since 2020. It's crazy, I know. I'm watching you all shaking your hands. The debt in U.S. is now less than 43%. It's never been that way. Never in all going back 90 years.